Hello and welcome back. We made it to the year 2020 AD, and this is a very important year. Every year is important, and it's important because we make it that way. So, we're living in a sci-fi reality right now, and I personally love it, and there's going to be a lot of people who don't, but the real secret to surviving and thriving is adaptation and being able to adjust to the world that is changing around you. All crisis is opportunity, and all opportunity can be a crisis. So, you always want to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and that allows you to be flexible and more adaptable. So whatever kind of struggles that you're going through right now in life, it's okay, because you're going to have to go through some kind of struggle anyway. And if everything were to neutralize and sterilize to the point where you didn't have to have problems or worry about anything, you would create them yourselves. You would create them yourselves so that your mind has something to mess with, and that's just how it works. Let's talk today about originality. A lot of people are not original nowadays, or ever, and it's okay, because it really is okay. And the reason why it's okay is because original thoughts are hard to come by. They're hard to come by because the names that we're given, the homes that we live in, the thoughts and the ideas that we're influenced by is not really ours to begin with. Society is our extended mind and body that we use. So all that collective that's happening out there in society, we get influenced by it. And then after a few moments go by, we forget where we heard those things. So we're being influenced. And whether you are being influenced positively or negatively is really up to you. If you look out there in the world, many people spend a lot of their lives already in natural environmental hypnosis, whether they're driving, listening to the radio, listening to a song while they wait for the bus, or whether they're bored at work or in a class or something like that. You go into a twilight phase, which is between waking and sleeping, and that's hypnosis. It's a state of hypersuggestibility, but the state goes unused or wasted or used by someone else. Advertisers, people promoting their products, people who are dropping in subliminal messages as well as direct messages trying to make you feel like you're inadequate without their product, so you should buy their product and then you'll feel adequate. Everyone else except you is taking advantage of your situation. So in 2020, I highly recommend that you take advantage of the state of hypnosis that you're going into anyway all the time, and even willfully go into that state of hypnosis so you can access what? More original thoughts. Because that is the channel that opens where the magic can come through. There's not that many original thoughts, like I said. And the world needs more original thoughts and more original ideas, and the more of them, the better place this world will be to live in. So in order for you to access those original thoughts more often, it would benefit you to enjoy the act of make-believe. Even mimery, when you have to pretend that there's a wall here, and you have to pretend that you're trapped in a box or something, and your imagination starts to build these worlds, these invisible worlds around you, and it fires up your reticular activating system, and it fires up all hemispheres of your brain. Just doing this will give you already an experience of hypnosis. And the more often you can spend in that state in 2020, you'll start to see more original thoughts come through, and you'll start to see more results in your creative endeavors. I've talked about this before, but if you look at what hypnosis is, it's also a buildup of message units followed by an escape. So throughout the day, you're getting bombarded with message units, meaning everybody's coming at you. There's information from your own brain, there's information from others, it's coming at you, and then you want to escape because you reach your daily limit. And then when you escape, that's when you go into that state of hypnosis where anything that goes on from that point on is no longer being critically analyzed, and it goes right through. So that's how advertisers take advantage of the state. But see, people want to go into hypnosis. People want fantasy. And everybody thinks people want reality in life. It's not true. People want fantasy in life. because we're filled with reality all the time. Hard ones, hard realities that suck much of the time. Bills, parents, or just people who you got to deal with, and problems you got to deal with. All that shit is happening in reality. So we don't need any more reality. We need more fantasy, and people are hungry and thirsty for more fantasy than they are reality. They want to be swept off their feet and taken to a magical place where all their dreams come true. And that's why movies, books, all these forms of entertainment, shows allow us to escape into this make-believe world where anything's possible. And anything really is possible, because you've heard of the simulation theory, where the world that we're living in actually could be like a video game simulation, and where these characters, like sim characters. I actually think that is highly possible, because if you look at evolution, if you look at the entire story of humankind, it looks like a game where you had these organisms dropped off on this planet where there's nothing, but there's all these laws, and if you learn these laws, you can start to unlock different abilities, and you can build and have access to different functionalities, just like you would in a video game. And that's what's been happening this whole entire time, and it's still happening. And we don't even know where the end is. There is no end in sight. The sky is the limit. And even then, the sky is not even the limit. It goes further than that. It's fascinating to see how far we could take this planet and outward and start moving into space and colonize other planets, and even leave this solar system and go to other galaxies, harness the power of all of these planets and different energies besides oil and coal. That's way off in the future, but in order to do that, what do we need? We need to be able to tap into our original thinking. So being able to tap into your original thinking using hypnosis is the best thing you can do, and the easiest, fastest way you can do that is play more, enjoy, make believe more. Like if you get in the car and you're driving to a party or something, why not make believe? Pretend you're like going to this VIP party or something, and you're a spy or a special agent or something, and you have to go find this very important person to get this microchip from that could save the world. I mean, some people do things like that. I mean, I myself actually do things like that, and I love it because it gives me access to every idea that I've ever had that has propelled me to that next level in life. Now, if you do this with something that you really do want to happen, it's going to work that much better. So if you're training to be an athlete, or you're training to be a surgeon, doesn't matter, or you're training to be a famous artist, then just pretend that you're already that famous artist or person. And it seems to me that law of attraction is more based off of what you habitually think comes true, and if you're always focusing on certain things, then those things tend to appear. But that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is just simply being able to access your own wonderful state of hypnosis where you have access to the magic of the ether. Because where do all ideas even come from in the first place? If they're not coming from out there in society, and then where are they coming from? They're coming from somewhere. And there's an invisible channel that can connect you to that place, and you do that through self-hypnosis. If you look up the guy Edgar Cayce, he's also known as the sleeping prophet. He was a prophet in, I believe, the 20s in America, around the 20s. I could be wrong about that, but he was a healer, and he would heal people by going into a state of self-hypnosis. He came up with the Akashic records and past life regression, and he would see into people's bodies, and he could tell who they were in their past lives. And that's why they're having these physical ailments in this life. Like he could look at someone who's having a heart problem, and then he could say, well, in your past life, you were shot in your heart. Now, is any of that stuff true? I mean, we don't know. But let's just say that he was good enough at what he did, and he really did help many, many people. The truth is sort of like a diamond. It's like, are you looking at the diamond or the truth of the diamond from this angle or that angle? It's going to look different when you look at it from a different angle. So it's sort of the same thing when it comes to healing and stuff like that. It's like, does it really matter if there is past lives or not? If the person believes it, if it makes sense to them, if it resonates with them on an emotional level, which you can't scientifically quantify. And that's the other thing, is that a lot of people think that when it comes to the scientific method, it's a foolproof plan. It's not true, because the scientific method says that, well, if it's repeatable, if something's repeatable, then it's considered scientific. And if it's not repeatable and it doesn't exist, but that's not true, because just because something isn't repeatable doesn't mean it didn't happen. So things like past lives and psychic abilities, those things are hard to repeat with consistency in a lab, because there's a bunch of factors that can affect an experiment like that, such as observation. And in fact, in those experiments, that's what they discovered, that the act of observing an experiment, the act of observing anything, changes its molecular structure. That's why when you look at an atom, it could be a particle or it could be a wave. It could be in multiple locations at once. And it's all based off of who's observing, or if anyone's observing at all. So the point of all this rambling is that for 2020, enjoy make-believe, enjoy the same type of playful make-believe that you engaged in when you were a child. Don't be afraid, don't be ashamed of it, just do it as an adult, and you will start to see your world start to open up to possibilities that have always been there, but now your dreams are starting to become a reality.